What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is United vs. Everybody. I am your host, Sean, and we are back with another Man United News Roundup on a Sunday night. It's always nice to close out the weekend with a little Man United chat, you guys, but that's what we're here to do, so we're going to dive right in. We're talking Sancho, we're talking Mbeumo, we're talking Gyokeres, and I've got a couple scouting reports from a couple of standout youngsters who have caught my eye during this U21 this summer that just wrapped up recently. So we're going to dive into all that today, you guys. So let's get stuck in, you guys. Make sure you're hitting that like button. Make sure you're subscribing to the channel for me if you are new. Hit that notification bell. Make sure you don't miss out on any content. Let's dive in. And before we do get started, though, one rule for today, one rule to start things off. Please, 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 no one put in the chat that we should get Dominic Calvert-Lewin for free. That's my rule today. I mean it. That's the rule. I will turn this car around if somebody mentions Dominic Calvert-Lewin for free. The only free agent striker you're allowed to talk about is Jonathan David. That's the rule on this channel. I mean it. So just getting that out of the way to start things off. And the name that I meant to, that when on the kickabout, you guys remember we were kind of going through old strikers and stuff. Sado Berahino was the one I couldn't think of. So everyone who remembers that from the kickabout with Dylan, we were going through some old school strikers. And then Danny, if you're in the chat, the other midfielder that I meant to talk about that I can never remember his name. I remembered it earlier today and I made sure I wrote it down. Rashid Lee Bajour. Remember him like 8 years ago? He was the talk of the town. Rashid Lee Bajour. Go check out that one. And then did anybody guess the other day? Remember when Dylan was on too? We were talking about Chicharito, and I asked people in the chat, "Hey, why is he called Chicharito? How did he get that nickname?" Did anybody ever answer that? Somebody let me know. Don't Google it. You got to know it or you don't. But yes, Chicharito. Why does he have his nickname? Where did it come from? What does it mean? All of that, get involved in that trivia today, and then get involved in the poll. I put a poll in there before we started to get started in the nitty gritty. But as always, let me go check in the chat. Lucky Singh, good to see you again. He is basically just doing the show here. Big up, Lucky. Hope you're doing well, my friend. He is all over it today. Big up, man. Danny, good to see you, man. How you doing? Danny says Wallace. Jan brought him up on here before. I'll check him out, man. We're going to be. I got a trio of scouting reports for you guys today when it comes to the Euro under 21. So we're gonna do all that. So let's get started with the news. Everybody, make sure you're hitting that like button. Make sure you're subscribing. Get involved in that poll as we move towards that first bit of news. Nobody mentioned Dominic Calvert-Lewin, or I will turn the car around. Let's do it all in there. Danny says, don't know about why he was. So for anyone who doesn't know, Chicharito, I threw out that question the other day. It doesn't seem like anyone had. Chicharito is named somewhat after his father, whose nickname was Chicharo. Now his dad played football. His name was Chicharo because he had green eyes. Peas. They called him peas. Green eyes. Chicharito, little P. Basically, the son of P, Chicharito, also green eyes. That's why they was called Peas, and that's why he's called Chicharito, not Chicharo. Just a little trivia for everybody. Big up. Danny says, thought you're on about the Club World Cup. No, I don't. Danny, this guy, Club World Cup, fuck that. I don't care about the Club World Cup. No, we're talking about the Euros under 21s. I have a couple of players that stood out for me, so we're going to talk about them. But speaking of youngsters, the academy is about to get a little bit of a shakeup. We are still waiting on word of a new academy director, obviously, but it sounds like the U21s have gotten themselves, the under 18s have gotten themselves a new head coach. And this is coming from Laurie Whitwell. Apparently, Darren Fletcher is in talks to become United's under 18s head coach. He was offered the job by Jason Wilcox and Nick Cox, expected to be accepted soon. Fletcher said to see now is the right time to take that number one job on future path in management. I don't like the way that looks. I'm going to switch that back up to the way I used to do it so you guys can actually see it there. I like that better. You don't need to see me. That's fine. I don't care. I'm down there in the corner. Boom, 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 right by the subscribe button, in case somebody didn't know where the subscribe button was. But yeah, Fletcher originally joined United staff as coach of the under-16s, if you guys remember, a long time ago. And then he moved up to join Ollie's coaching staff shortly thereafter that. And then he moved into a technical director role, or what was that, a couple of years ago, 2021, 22, I don't remember off the top of my head. It does sound like he wants to be a manager someday. A lot of ex-players do. And if you're going to do that, you have to have coaching experience. You can't just chill and kind of have a technical director role. You got to go coach. And I think the under-18s is a good place to do that. I think this is a good step for him. I want to make sure you're good at the job, though, like we talked about the other day with Johnny Evans joining with the loan. As long as you're good at your job, it doesn't bother me so much if you're kind of moving up the ladder as a former player. It doesn't really matter. Some people will say that we've done this because we want to keep his sons in the academy because his sons are very good. I don't buy it. I think that Fletcher's been around United in a coaching capacity longer than his sons have been around. So I think it's just, to me, it makes sense. But what do you guys feel about that little bit of news coming from Laurie Whitwell? Sticking with the academy for a hot second, we've got some good news regarding some more youngsters. This coming from Nathan Salt today. And he let us know that JJ Gabriel has committed to stay at Man United. 14-year-old looks set to leave this summer before a crucial intervention from Jason Wilcox and Matt Hargreaves. Key meetings in past weeks is what swung the decision. Honestly, this is great news. I don't know if a lot of you watch the academy. We watch the academy a lot here on the channel. We've done a couple watch-alongs for the academy on the channel. You guys have been a part of that. We talk a lot about, I've done videos strictly on academy players. If you look back, way back when Amorim was first appointed, I did a whole video on academy players that I'd like to see brought in. I still am pushing for Camison. I don't think we need a right wing back. Still pushing for Biancheri, Sekou Kone. I love this academy. The academy is the strongest it's looked in a very long time. And JJ Gabriel is on fire right now. This is great news. He's reportedly already catching the eye of clubs like Barcelona and whatnot. He's very good. I wouldn't be surprised to see him actually be maybe pushed up to the under-18s. I definitely think he's good enough to be a regular in the under-16s. He's very, very young. He literally, this season alone, he played an under-16 match and then literally turned around the very next day and played in the under-18s and came on and scored, I believe. So the kid is very, 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 very good. There's a lot of varies. I might have to start instituting some sort of a vary meter or a vary counter when I talk about some of these players. Danny is excited about it, though. JJ, he is fire. Yeah, this is good news. So hopefully this will all be done and dusted, man. I am all about this kid. I honestly think that in a couple of years, this kid could break into the first team. I think he's that good. And Danny agrees. All goes well, he'll be in the first team at 16. Yeah, if he continues on this trajectory, just from the raw talent that we've seen so far, he's got everything, I think, in him to be a 16, 17-year-old in and around the first team. If the key is going to be, is he good enough to go from playing in the under 18s for the next couple of years directly into the first team, or does he need to go get some experience, maybe like in the Bundesliga or Eredivisie or in the championship or something? I'm always pushing championship for loans for players because I want our players to experience the nitty gritty of, first team football in England. I want them to play against grown men, the kind of men they're going to be playing against on a regular basis. Championship is no joke. It's a marathon. There's more matches in the championship in the season because there are more teams in the championship. And you're playing on some dirty old pitches that are just muddy and hard and not drainage. You're playing in front of close-knit, hostile crowds. I mean, you go to Luton Town where you're basically in someone's backyard to take a corner kick. I mean, that's what I like to see. And I love, you guys know, when Justin and I first went to Manchester, we went to Crewe to see Salford play Crewe. It was awesome. Justin and I went to Salford again, Peninsula Stadium, this past trip when we went. Such a great experience as well. I love these kind of lower league grounds, man. They're great. I love it. I love it to death. But that's good news for us for the academy. I think it's good news to see JJ Gabriel sticking around. I know that was a big point of, what if, not that kind of what if. Go check out season 2 if you want to of what if. But good news. I like the academy where it's going. Good news for us on Gabriel. Let me know your thoughts on that. Are you excited? Do you not watch the academy? Could you not care less? Let me know what you think. We're going to move on because I know you guys want to talk about Brian Mbeumo. We haven't really done a new show on Brian Mbeumo in a little bit. So obviously yesterday we went back and looked at some of my 2.5 to 3-year-old scouting reports and kind of worked together. Let you guys decide, hey, did I get these right? Did I get these wrong? They're very old, but it was fun. Didn't do any news report because there wasn't any news really yesterday. Day before, we kind of got in. We're an hour into a live stream the day of 2 days ago when we got the whole news of second bid rejected from Brentford, and that was coming. I think it was Ornstein who dropped that. So we obviously not a whole lot. We knew they were going to go in for a third bid, and third bid sounds like it's coming. So Fabrizio Romano kind of clarified some of this stuff that's going on right now. Let me put this back on the screen for y'all real quick. So this is what Romano had to say yesterday. The negotiations for Brian Mbeumo to Manchester United remain underway. Direct contact ongoing. United and Brentford discuss structure of the deal. Add-ons, as Fabrizio, I always love when Romano says add-ons. Crucial details as United remain confident. Mbeumo informed all parties 3 days ago about clear desire, Man United. That's coming from Fabrizio Romano. So what it sounds like, to kind of recap, our first bid was like 45 million plus 10 million in add-ons, and that doesn't sound like that was enough to get the deal over the line, if that makes sense. I'm reading that the second bid that was rejected was like 55 million plus like 7.5 million, kind of taking it to that 62.5 Cunha mark. I think what they want, though, is 60 million up front, and I think they do want a little bit different structure in terms of add-ons and payment structure. And I think that was from David Ornstein, who was kind of given those little details. Graham Bailey seems to think the next bid is going to be at least 60 million. I mean, that's just common sense. Muppeteers reckons that this next bid is probably going to happen in the next few days. United want it wrapped up quickly. Romano had this to say as well today. The understanding is that Brentford constantly mentioned in talks MUFC price tags of other players, which is why they want more than what United offered in that second bid. My understanding is that Brentford have not rejected the bid and the conversations continue. So, I mean, we all kind of knew that. It's kind of been the gist of the thing. Brentford were looking at Cunha. This is what we want. This is how much you paid for Cunha. I still think that's not a fair assessment, given Cunha had just signed a new contract in February. This was a release clause we paid, and Mbeumo was going into the final year of his contract. I just don't think it's a fair assessment. But I think Brentford they're being Brentford. I mean, I think we can all agree that Brentford's asking price is a little too high, and the basis for it is a little bit unfounded. I think we can all agree, right? No one's saying Mbeumo isn't a great player. I'm not saying that he is, but I think comparing his situation to Cunha's is just a little off the mark. So Fabrizio did say this afternoon in his most recent video that United and Brentford are constantly in communication, even on a Sunday. I'm not the only one here working on a Sunday. Sounds like everybody's working hard to get it done. It'll get done. Again, like I said the other day, I'm not sweating about it because this is very normal for transfers. Would we have liked to seen this wrapped up sooner? Yeah, I would have liked to have seen this wrapped up sooner. I think that just haggling over a couple million up front, add-ons and stuff, it's normal, but it's annoying, I guess. It's starting to feel a little bit like Brentford are tired of being known as the selling club, and they're trying to just get their due, and which is within their right, even if it's unfounded. But it is what it is. I think it would help I know Mbeumo wants United. I think he really needs to start forcing this a little bit better. What we got going here? Ifealua Adeleye, I don't know how to pronounce that. Adeleye. Big up though. Welcome to the channel. Do you think with the whole Gyokeres situation, he could just phone up Amorim and be like, just get me out of here if United can pay the fee, since Arsenal can't? Amorim is just a WhatsApp call away. Well, sure, there might be rules about some of that stuff, but we have been told that Amorim and Gyokeres are in constant contact because they do know each other. We're gonna talk about Gyokeres in a second. I'm sure that's what's going on. I think that Gyokeres, if he had all things being equal, it sounds like he would want to go to Arsenal over United. They're in Champions League. It makes sense. But it doesn't sound like Arsenal are maybe too keen, and he's not their first choice. So that's a point of contention for a lot of United fans. A lot of United fans are kind of getting some bass in their voice and saying, well, we don't want to be second choice. We don't want anyone who needs convincing. Every player needs convincing to join a club. If they didn't, you would be able to pay them $5,000 a week. You wouldn't have to pay people $300. Everybody needs convincing. That's just part of it. You have to convince young players of a pathway. That's why they choose us. You have to convince them of a project. That's why Cunha and whatnot chose us. Reportedly, Mbeumo's getting paid less than what Newcastle and Spurs offered. And it does take convincing. Let's not pretend it doesn't happen. But big up, man. Welcome to the channel. Tempest Gandeliso, haven't seen you in a minute. Please United. I like Gyokeres and Mbeumo, Emi Martinez, Ederson, Rios, West. You just like everybody. You just want all of them, all the names, all the things. My question for you is, obviously in the poll, what's everybody saying in the poll? Is that too much? So 90% of you think that 60 million plus 5 is a fair price. I'd probably agree. But at the same time, I think it's not that I don't think it's a fair price. I think Brentford's reported reasoning for it is a little unfounded, personally. But at what point should United, let's say in a given transfer window, like our transfer saga, what point should United or any club for that matter move on? Like, where's the line between getting your target and overpaying, I guess, if that makes sense? You know, if Mbeumo only wants United and has said as much to like Brentford and other clubs, why can't we maybe ask him to put in an official transfer request? Why can't we say like, hey, you need to help us out here because Brentford are digging their heels in for no reason. This is dragging on. Like, I need to see a little bit of good faith here and say, hey, like, I need to put in an official request. Like, force the move, basically. Like, at what point can that be something that we do? Samuel said Brentford are stubborn like Egyptian cats. Are Egyptian cat? I'm allergic to cats, so I don't know if cats are stubborn or maybe is it just an Egyptian cat thing? Interesting. Lucky wants him to force the move. I mean, I'm just throwing out the question. Like, at what point should a player just be like, I want to force the move? I mean, Gyokeres is reportedly refusing to train. Anthony reportedly refused to train when he was going to come to United. Like, at what point is that kind of the logical next step? I'm going to do this a little bit so we're talking a little more to each other. Like, and that's my question for you guys there. But it seems like most of you think that that's a fair price. So I'll go ahead and end the poll there right now while we're still chatting. Maybe Brentford are a little butthurt that he just wants to leave, period. They're going through a lot of transition right now. They've been selling some of their best attackers for the last several years. Thomas Frank is gone. Maybe they're like, hey, this couldn't have been the worst time. But we were already involved in the discussions. It was already happening. Are they just throwing a little bit of a tantrum just because they want to? Like, what would you do? Would you move on to another target if you think it's too much? Would you prioritize another position, then circle back? Like, or maybe you just go full on Shia LaBeouf and you're just like, do it. You guys let me know. It sounds like you guys think it's a fair price. So I think it's just a matter of time. I think we'll get this done. I would have liked to see it done a little sooner. I was hoping, to me, it was even less about the getting the Brentford. Like, I wanted more players done before preseason, and I was hoping that we could get this done so we could get the next target, like a striker or somebody else going. But, you know, what are you going to do? Lucky says Anthony Malambo joined Brentford. Oh, did he? That was a player we were linked with earlier in the season, too. I think I did a scouting report on him back when those links popped up. That was a long time ago. Don't ask me to remember where it was. Yeah, so it sounds like medical still kind of tentatively could happen any day now. It sounds like I would be willing to fight. If you ask me right now, I'd be willing to bet that we would probably wake up tomorrow morning to some big Mbeumo news, or at least I would wake up. You guys are some of you might be up 5 hours ahead of me because 5 hours ahead of me in the UK, but I doubt we're going to see a whole lot tonight. It's already after 11 over there. So I think we'll see it get done, but we'll see. I've been wrong in the past, so I'm not going to worry about it. Speaking of annoying transfer sagas that I'm ready to see the back of, Fabrizio Romano shared a quote from Sporting Lisbon president Frederico Vagandos regarding Victor Gyokeres and his reported price tag and all. I mean, it's been a little quiet on the Victor Gyokeres front for a while, right? It's been a while since we've talked about that. I think the last time we discussed it is when he reportedly refused to train. But Romano had this to say, and this is just something he shared from Sporting president. This is what Sporting president Federico Varandas had to say recently. This was just recently, this weekend. It says, I'm not going to say what the price is. The player knows what it is. I can tell you that Victor won't leave for 60 million euros plus 10 million add-ons. He won't. He just won't. So, again, doubling down a little bit on the price. Remember, that was the comments that came out, and then it was supposedly the agent had proof, and then Gyokeres was reportedly not willing to train. It's I'm gonna put a poll on while I talk about this, you guys, because this shit's getting like middle school nonsense. This right now. Let me put a poll here. Gyokeres. You guys, let me know what you think. Honestly, like all things being equal with Victor Gyokeres, he's still like going into the summer. He was still one of my top choices, personally, just because I just think he's an excellent striker. You guys know I've said that for years. I showed you that scouting report that I did on him back in 2023 when he was at Coventry balling out. He still will be my first choice just based on quality alone. If you removed like price and all that stuff, I want Gyokeres. He's that good. But I'm starting to get to the point where I don't want to go anywhere near the drama. Like I'm tired of the drama. Like as a fan, I'm got my popcorn and I'm watching it all with eager eyes because it's funny. But if I at a club, like, is that the kind of drama you want to get involved in? I mean, it seems a little like the Victor Osimhen saga. It's so funny. Both strikers that we're heavily linked to, both named Victor, both having similar issues with this gentleman agreement. Guys, I said, get it in writing. I don't care what it is. Get it in writing because this kind of shit is exactly what happens when you don't get it in writing. But I'll put a poll up there, Gyokeres for you guys, yes or no. Let's see here. Samuel says we should send Sekou Kone on a season-long loan to Wrexham to get Premier League. Well, I mean, they're in the Championship, not quite Premier League. Supposedly, we talked about yesterday, he could be going to Lausanne Sport on loan, which is the Swiss club that Ineos own. So I would prefer to see him playing somewhere in England football. If not, maybe Nice. I think he could be ready for Nice. That's a little higher level than Lausanne. But Samuel thinks Anthony should buy himself out of his contract. Well, I don't think any player is going to do that. Quite frankly, they're not going to spend the money. Anthony has no reason to. Would you buy yourself out of your contract if you were making 200K or now I guess it's 150K a week now that we're not in Champions League? I mean, I doubt anybody in the world would do that. Like that just it doesn't make sense financially. Rajat, big up Rajat. Good to see you, my friend. Hope you're doing well. But you guys let me know with the drama and everything. And maybe you just don't rate Gyokeres. I don't know. I didn't get into specifics in the poll. You just let me know what you guys think of Gyokeres. So Samuel wants another Victor Boniface. The tale of the Victors. I'm going to get it's like the Spider-Man meme when they're all pointing at each other. Just get a Victor. Just, It's kind of what's feeling like. Rajat says, will you get Isco from La Liga? And no, I will not get Isco on a 2-year loan. Not at all. But how old is Isco now? Like 33, 34? I don't think so. Not for me personally, but I'm just me. But what are you guys saying in here about Gyokeres here? 71% of you would still take him. So I'm going to get it going. So Rajat says, like Gyokeres, not sure he'll want to come here. It sounds like from what we're seeing, it's not that he's not rejected United. He's just saying like my first choice is Arsenal. But it doesn't sound like he's Arsenal's first choice. So, which it is what it is. Every player is going to have a dream move. That's just the way it works. So, I mean, I'm sure, it happens a lot. So, but most of you would take Gyokeres at United still amidst all the drama. So thank you for getting involved in that. So moving on to my next bit of transfer news coming from Alfredo Padilla, who reckons that we are still in the chase for Atalanta midfielder Ederson. Alfredo Padilla had this to say. Last summer, Manchester United offered 50 million euros for Ederson, but Atalanta wanted 60 million euros. United and Atalanta are still currently in talks, and we'll have to wait and see if anything significant develops from these discussions in the near future. So we haven't mentioned Ederson a ton in recent months, mostly because there hasn't been a whole lot of updates. We talked about him a lot heading into the summer because that's when a lot of the stuff was popping up. It's not because I don't rate him, like that I don't talk about him enough. Like I list him in a lot of the lists that I do with midfielders. I just think that there are also other midfielders out there who are just as good and, probably close to like half that price. I mean, you can get Hackney and Lamine Camara for the same price as you're going to pay for one Ederson, basically. They're both younger. They'll both be here for a little bit longer. You can get Yashari for probably a little less than that as well. You can get Yashari and Lennon Miller for what you're going to pay for an Ederson. That's just how my brain works. And yet it sounds a little like I'm being like a director of football, I can't help it. That's just how my brain works with scouting reports, with market values and all that stuff. I'm all for building and not just buying. And we're not at a place in this rebuild where we can just go blow a lot of money on one player like Liverpool just did with Florian Wirtz. We just can't. We have to be smart. We have to be patient. We have to get creative, and we have to build. And that's going to take time. Liverpool took 4 years under Klopp, under their proper build, to start doing anything. And that's just part of it. Some players that you sign now aren't going to be a part of the triumph that comes after 3 or 4 years of a rebuild, but they are going to be a big part in helping the rebuild during those early stages, i.e. Bruno, for instance. I probably still would have preferred to sell Bruno, because I think that money could have been very, very useful, but it is what it is. It's a moot point to discuss it any further at this juncture. So, what are you guys saying here? He says overpay FC. Yeah. I mean, it is just a difference of 10 million euros, but so I don't know what that is. Was like 43 million pounds for 50 million. I mean, it's not awful. I think you could probably get it for like 37 to 38 million plus like 6-7 million in add-ons probably gets it done personally. But again, I'd probably still go for Yashari and like Lennon Miller and like bring them in, maybe loan Lennon Miller to like Celtic or Ranger. I don't know. Like, we'll see what happens. Like you said, 20 million pounds, we will take it. Danny says 40 is the most we should be paying for Ederson. I like what Ederson brings. He's experienced. He's good. He ticks a lot of boxes. And if there weren't all these other midfielders out there, I'd be like, yeah, he's a good player. Let's go get him. But there's just so many other players. I mean, we've gone through so many midfielders on this channel in the last couple months alone that you guys have looked at numbers and everything, and they're very good. I just did that scouting report on Elliot Anderson, Hackney, Yashari, Lamine Kamara, Agume, Buati, like all of these players. Gabriel Sarah, I remember I did that scouting report on Gabriel Sailor months ago, literally going into January, and we were just linked with him recently. So there are a ton of midfielders out there. Rajat doesn't really want him no more. Uh-oh. What changed your mind, Rajat? Because that was literally my next question, Rajat. Has anybody changed their mind for or against him? You guys are funny. Rajat says, I'm nervous he will be Fred 2.0. I do think he's better than Fred. He's a little different than Fred. He's definitely more composed and press resistant than Fred in that kind of middle area of the pitch. Remember, Fred was not very press resistant at all. Literally, it was hearts and mouth whenever Fred would get pressed in his own third, and he tended to lose the ball either by just being pressed off it or just giving it away with just a sloppy pass. Fred was never a 6. He should have never been played in a pivot. Fred was always an 8. He had that energy. He had that forward ball progression. He did a lot kind of making these late marauding runs, these box crashing runs and stuff. He should have never been a 6. Now, the whole McFred thing, those were 2 players in our pivot under Jose Mourinho that really are not deep lying players. They're not 6s. Neither of them were. And maybe Mourinho thought with McTominay's kind of height, because we know Mourinho liked tall players, physical players in that deep role. And, Fred's energy, maybe he thought he could recreate one player in the aggregate, but it is what it is, man. Danny says never wanted him. Samuel says Ederson would be the Casemiro replacement. Unfortunately, I just don't think Casemiro's going anywhere. It is what it is. We kind of already knew that. He's kind of already said, I'll see out my contract. He's getting paid a lot of money. He's not just going to automatically. He'll have his pick of any club in a year, and at least in the Saudi league. I'm surprised that Ronaldo doesn't maybe make a push to bring him to Al Nassr. I think that could be a good move for him. Honestly, I don't even care about getting money for him. I care more in Casemiro's case and in like Sancho's case, getting the wages off the books, so we don't have to pay another 17 million in wages for Casemiro. But we will see what happens. Let me see. Raja says many other United fans want him. Yeah, and he's not a bad player. I rate Ederson. I rate some other players more, and they're cheaper. So what you gonna do? Danny says he's a 6. We need a 6. Ederson is an 8. Yeah, I think I would say yes and no. We need a 6 in the sense of these are, I guess you can call them like maybe 6.5s or something. I don't know, because they're not 6s in the sense of like a Ten Hag pivot where you've got another player kind of in front of them a little bit. They're 6s in the sense of like old school midfielders. So they do have to do a little bit more. I do like Ederson. I just like other players more personally. And he says a deep lying playmaker that can play through the first phase with ease and can progress the ball is what we need. Yeah. And if you notice, a lot of the midfielders that I've scouted, and to be fair, a lot of the midfielders that we've been linked with are that. They're physical. They've got stamina. They have ball progression. Let me look up Ederson's on his stats here on FBref. I want to see. I got to remind myself what his ball progression looks like. So, yeah, Ederson definitely is. He's not as physical in the sense that all of his tackles and stuff, that's below average. His interceptions are pretty much average. His progressive passes is in like top 10%, successful take-ons like top 25%, carries top 40%. So he is a bit more progressive. He's definitely not that Ugarte that I'm going to automatically win the ball back. He's definitely a little bit more of a playmaker. He reminds me a lot of what's the dude's name? Who's the bald midfielder we had on loan? Somebody remind me. We got him from Fiorentina. I don't know why I can't think of it. But everybody thought he was like this midfield destroyer because of what he did in the World Cup. That's not, if you look at his numbers at Fiorentina before the World Cup, he was actually a deep lying playmaker, a progressive passer. And so that's pretty much what I see Ederson doing. He does look like he's got a little bit more ball progression skills than anything. Samuel says David Beckham should have persuaded Casemiro. He's running out of you don't. So MLS only has a certain amount of designated player slots in their squads. So those are the slots that are reserved for players that they're not inhibited by the salary cap, because MLS also has a wage cap. So you get 3 designated player slots, and that means you can pay these players whatever. Now, he could have maybe done like something like Messi did, but with the Apple TV subscription deal, but Messi already did it, so there's nothing more you can do there. Amerbet, thank you. Fuck off. I don't know why I couldn't remember his name. I've told you guys, the last couple of days have been rough, man. I've been sick. Today I woke up with a massive migraine. Like my whole eye area was just done. I've had the blinds closed. It's been dark. I've been chilling on the couch. Yesterday was very rough. I was not feeling great yesterday, and I've been off and on sleep. It's been rough. Raja says Van de Beek returning. I doubt it. Samuel likes Diogo Costa. I'm not as sold on Diogo Costa as a lot of people are. He reminds me, I see a lot of early De Gea in him. He's got a lot of shakiness, a lot of mistakes in him. He's definitely good for at least one massive mistake per match, I feel like. I've seen him do a little bit more on international duty than I have on Porto, but I think there are other keepers out there who are definitely cheaper, and I think that are very good. If you guys want to know who I think, go check out my goalkeeper target video from last week. That's on the channel. There's a link in the description for that as well. Did half a dozen Onana replacements, scouting reports for each one of them. So go check that one out. But Lucky says Brian and Mbeumo, Fiorentina. I am not a fan of Moise Kean. The guy's 25. He's had one decent season in his whole career. Yeah, definitely not for me personally, but everybody's got their own price. Everyone's got their own preference. So moving on from Ederson, let's talk about Jadon Sancho, because he might have lost himself another potential destination if he gets his exit from Manchester United. And this is coming from Fabrizio Romano. He says, Bilahu Sarafa, welcome to the channel, my friend. Good to see a new face as always. You're joining an excellent community, some absolute legends here in the chat. But big up, everybody, give him a warm welcome. Samuel likes Lucas Chevalier. I like Lucas Chevalier too. As you guys will see when I go through my scouting report video, I was scouting Lucas Chevalier well over a year ago. But I do love it. Big up. Fabrizio Romano talking about Jadon Sancho. Says Fenerbahce are not in active talks to sign Jadon Sancho, as negotiations are not concrete at this stage. The main focus is on Sancho Duran for now. So it sounds like Fener have shifted gears, and this happens sometimes in the transfer market with clubs and players. If they've got players that they like, that they keep an eye, and that player suddenly becomes available, i.e. Sancho Duran, who reportedly doesn't want to be in the Saudi League anymore. Surprise, surprise, the Saudi League is nonsense. Not even 6 months later, he wants to leave. Then clubs might shift their priorities and go elsewhere. I'm sure Arsenal were talking to Gyokeres, and they got word Chesko, who's been their target for a long time, became available. They're probably going to go back to their first choice. That's just normal. And so this is going to happen. But as far as Sancho is concerned, dude, take the hint. Take the fucking hint, Sancho. Read the room. Lower your wage demands if you want to play football. We're right now, we're going to see your priorities, and I get it. You got your 300K a week from United. It is what it is. You're well within your rights, but it's really going to show your priorities. So it is what it is. I mean, I always said, like, I don't blame players for their transfer fee for how much we pay for him. It's not Sancho's fault that we paid so much for him. It's not. It's an investment that shows how much a club values a player and believes in a player. The players have nothing to do with it. I do, however, hold players a little bit more accountable for their wages because it's them and their agents who fought for that package. And it's United who agreed to it. So United have a big role in that as well. But that's how I feel about wages and whatnot. But on John Duran, though, United were linked to him a few years back. I was as shocked as anyone that he decided to go to Al Nassr after he was having such a great season for Aston Villa. He was coming on as a sub. He was making moves. He was scoring goals. He was young. He was hungry. He was physical. He was energetic. Now, a lot of people, I've seen a lot of United fans online saying, we should be all over this. We should be all over this. So I just put that poll in there. Would you take John Duran at United? Remember, we were linked with him still when he was back at Chicago. I almost had a chance to go watch him play when I was with Livonia City FC. Every year in Chicago, they have their annual meeting for all the clubs in the league. And I didn't go to it because literally the next day, I would have gone to, that's when I was going to Manchester for the first time. So I didn't think that was very easy to do. But everyone who went to the meeting got tickets to go to Chicago Fire games. So I would have at least got to see him. I just didn't get to. But Longa Daddy Mustafa, that's an awesome name. Big up. Hey, possibility of letting out players to leave this summer. Yeah, there's lots of possibilities, man. Where I think that some clubs are probably going to be waiting until July 1st when the new financial year kicks in. So it all counts towards next season's FFP, PSR stuff. But yeah, we're talking, Sancho's got to go. Anthony's got to go. Rashford's got to go. Garnacho's probably going to go. Maybe Onana. Who knows? But you guys let me know. Would you take John Duran at United? For me, as a backup option, like in the Højlund backup role, yeah. I don't think he's good enough to be a starter. He was doing a lot of his damage as a sub at Aston Villa, coming on against tired defenses. He's very physical, very old school. I liked it. Problem is, he'll want to be the main guy wherever he goes, and I just don't think he's there yet. He could definitely go do it at another club, but I don't think he can do it at United. He should go to he should never have left Aston Villa, but I think Aston Villa needed money, and so they had to have it. But he could shake up the striker market, though, when he moves. We could start seeing some dominoes fall in terms of the strikers. Longadetti says, current deal of Mbeumo to United. Yeah, man. We were talking about that a little earlier. Do you think we might see something done on that in the next couple of days? Supposedly, we're getting ready to bid another bid. So let me know. What are you guys saying about John Duran here? 80% of you would take him. That's surprising. So if 80% of you would take him at United, where do you see him playing? Is he a sub? Does he come in and start? What happens to Højlund, Xerxes, Cheeto? I'm going to get water. Glug, glug. Where do you see John Duran at United? I like him a lot. Let me go look at his numbers at Villa before he left. Hold on a second. Should have done this before the video, but I didn't think 80% of you would want him at United, so that's interesting to me. So he scored 8 goals in 13 games at Al Nassr, but it's Al Nassr. He scored 12 at Aston Villa this past season before he left. 7 in the league. How many starts did he get? Let me see here. He wasn't getting a lot of starts. He had couple starts. Most of it's literally 20 minutes, 12 minutes, 25 minutes, 30 minutes. So he wasn't like getting a ton of minutes. But when he did get more minutes, he was scoring goals. So maybe that's something to look out for. Let me see what you guys are saying here. Love powerful, nasty boys from online. Yeah, I have no problem with John Duran. I like him a lot. I just I don't think that he's the difference maker. I feel the same way about Ekitike. I felt the same way about Liam Delap. Like, they're good young strikers, but we did the same thing with Rasmus Højlund. They're similar age, and if Højlund's still not doing it and he's 22 now, I'm not sure how confident I am in another, young striker being the main guy. But let's see. Longa wants to know why is it Amorim doesn't want Højlund leaving the club. Well, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. We're getting a lot of reports, right? I think the main thing that I'm seeing with Højlund, and you guys will back me up on this, is that we only want a permanent sale, or he's going to stay and probably be a backup option or a rotation option. I don't know yet. It depends on who we sign, but it sounds like we're open to a sale, but only if we basically don't get boned by PSR. I think the minimum was like 40 or something in order to get that done. It's a lot of club. We read that Inter were maybe looking at a loan with an option. Then they decided that Esposito was going to stay, so maybe that closes the door for Højlund. A lot of you would still Højlund. I did that poll the other day, and you guys, interestingly, would keep him as a backup, which I don't have a problem with, but it just seemed to me like a lot of United fans were kind of done with Højlund, so who knows? He should never have been the starter, so I'll always come back to that. But no, you don't have to thank me, man. This is your channel. I'm just here to kind of throw out the topics and let you guys kind of dictate how the conversation goes. That's why I do a lot of polls. That's why I ask for a lot of input. I don't know what he was going to do at Inter Milan. I mean, they do kind of play with the front two, but Inzaghi's gone now, so we won't know if the next manager is going to stick with that 3-5-2 or whatever he was doing. They have a lot of older players at Inter Milan too. I think that club is probably going to have to go through a little bit of a rebuild of its own. But we'll see. I'd still take Marcus Thuram. I like Marcus Thuram a lot, but it's interesting though. So let's see. Raja said he is more left winger than striker, to be honest, and only still 22. He's more left winger than striker. Well, I'm going to go look at his heat map and see where he gets a lot of his touches and see what we're doing here. Because I obviously don't watch the Saudi league. So not really going to profess like I know where he plays in the Saudi league. Now, he might have been pushed to a left wing at El Nasser because they've got Ronaldo, and Ronaldo is not leaving that striker spot. So let me see here. I mean, most of his touches are in central positions in and around the box and things. So I don't know. If you watch more of the Saudi league, then I'll defer to your better judgment. But let me see. I'm looking up his heat map and his positions and stuff. So there's a little bit of a front two, a little bit of a 3-3. Yeah, I mean, you're never going to depose Ronaldo from that striker spot. And Ronaldo in the Saudi league is like me playing with a bunch of 4-year-olds. So let's just have it right, to be honest with you. Roger says, I'm talking about Højlund because remember that goal versus Bayern Munich, the group stage game. Yeah, he scored some goals. His first season at the club, he wasn't bad. He exceeded my expectations, Højlund, his first season at the club. He was like the top scorer in the group stage of the Champions League. Now it's Onana's fault that we didn't get out of the group stage, but for 20 years old, coming in and basically being our main guy, especially when he came and he hit his back injury when he got here, Højlund exceeded expectations, in my opinion. It's just this last season, it just fell off a cliff for him. I don't know what happened. Everybody's got a different opinion, but I'm going to close that poll, though. But it sounds like most of you are all about John Duran. Interesting. Is that a little bit of anybody but Højlund kind of mentality, or is that just sign somebody? We don't care who it is. Let me know what you guys are thinking there. Let me get this off the screen because we are done talking about Sancho for the time being. Personally. So Chelsea have pretty much locked up Bino Gittins for $55.5 million. That's just what's happened recently. Hold on a second. Let me get something cleared up here. Boom. There we go. I don't know if you guys saw that happen, that Chelsea are pretty much wrapping up Bino Gittins today, and I lost my spot. There we go. $55.5 million is the price that I'm seeing for Bino Gittins, or I guess it's just Gittins now. He wants to be known as, but again, this is another opportunity for Sancho really to show some humility, take this on the chin like a man, but he won't because he's going to go on social media probably and mouth off with, he won't even put words, or it'd just be one word. I don't know, man, but as far as that, though, is $55.5 million for a player from Borussia Dortmund. If that's the price that Chelsea are paying for someone like Gittins, that is literally the bare minimum that I would accept for Garnacho. Like bare minimum. If you're just going on comparisons alone, that is the bare minimum. That's just, we can't afford to just bend over backwards for clubs. Like, we have to know Garnacho's worth. Now, Garnacho's not helping matters, but the way he's acting. But he's Premier League proven. If you buy into that whole thing, he's a Puskas winner. Like, if he's going to a Premier League club, we need to demand a lot of money. That's just the way it is. He's only on 50K a week, so it's not like clubs need to worry about his wages like they do with Anthony or Rashford. Like, there's no reason for him financially. That should be the minimum we should expect, personally. What's everybody doing, Danny? You guys are funny. Lucky is glad he caused a fuss. Why are you glad about that, man? Let me know why you're happy about that. Lucky says, I love when players wear different club shirts. You're funny, man. Oh, boy. You guys are funny. We haven't scored goals properly in a couple of years. Yeah. Tell me about it. I'm not sure what they're doing because like Danny says, Chelsea have also reportedly wrapped up João Pedro for 50 million, which is interesting because they also just signed Liam Delap. Like, is Nicholas Jackson still there? I forgot to check if Nicholas Jackson is still there or not. Like, did he leave? Is he still there? No, he's still a striker. Like, he's still a striker so they've got Nicholas Jackson, Liam Delap, and now João Pedro. I just don't get it, man. This is ridiculous, man. So, and it's so funny because weren't Newcastle in form. So despite trying to force themselves to the big kids table, just trying to squeeze in between a couple chairs at the big kids table and try to manufacture some sort of top six rivalry with Man United. Newcastle just have zero fucking pull, don't they? Like, literally zero pull. Nobody wants to go to Newcastle, man. Like, that's insane, man. I don't know how long they're going to hold on to Isak. Isak's going to have to force a transfer if he wants to get out of that club. I don't get how a club like that, with the owners they have and everything, aren't doing more. So Gyokeres, Tonali, who else did they sign? Like Gordon, Isak, the Botman they signed not that long ago. Who else? Like, that's ridiculous to me. What are you guys saying? Danny says Jackson finished. Did Jackson ever get started at Chelsea? He scored some goals here and there, but I've seen this dude. It's like he was like Fernando Torres-esque the way he was missing some of these sitters these last couple of years. Like, it's embarrassing. It's like Timo Werner out here, man. It's ridiculous. Raja says Chelsea has not much idea what they're doing. Yeah, I just don't get that. Like, I know some people are looking at this like they got this João Pedro deal locked up. Like, anyone looking at that, though, and then they look at how long the Mbeumo deal has been going on, and they're getting frustrated about that, they need to remind themselves that this is Chelsea. We have to try not to use what Chelsea do in the transfer window as some sort of measuring stick for how to go about a transfer window. Because if they've shown us anything, it's that is not how you do a transfer window. Their plan A was like, let's sell some hotels so we can buy some players. Like, and just because this deal is done quickly, it doesn't mean it was a good move. Todd Bowley has more of a track record of being an absolute idiot in the transfer market than showing any sort of competency. Let's just have that right at the moment. But Lucky says, Sean, my man, PSG, Barcelona best pressing. And Barcelona had a good season. No, they didn't. Samuel says, Manchester United should look at signing Juan Jimenez. Oh, now you're just trying to get on Danny's good side, Samuel, because somewhere Danny's ears just perked up like you, like the freaking boogeyman. Danny says Tobias, well, who in the blue hell from that league is not going to Bologna or Parma or something these days? Everybody seems to be going there when they're from these Argentina players, man. It's a little annoying how they got this poll, but they will get minutes. I'll say that. You know, I know Udinese have slapped up some players in the past as well. Nehuén Perez is the one that I watched a couple years ago that ended up going to Udinese. So what you gonna do? Raj says 100% can't name more than 3 or 5 great players Top B has gotten to Chelsea. Yeah, Top B. If you know, you know. So, but yeah, just don't take what Chelsea do in the transfer market as some sort of guide, because it could be a whole chapter in a book on what not to do in the transfer market. Same with United, though, when it comes to the Casemiro or the Sancho or the Anthony or the Pogba. Like, we could have written a book on what not to do in the transfer market in the last decade. It was like the cat's away, the mouse will play as soon as Ferguson and David Gill left, because then it just all went to shit. It literally just went to shit, man. So what are you going to do, though? I'm done talking about Chelsea. Let's switch gears. The under-21 Euros have just wrapped up, and England have emerged as the winners. I think they beat Germany. Was that who they played recently? Can't remember now off the top of my head. But they are the winners. There are a lot of young standout players in the tournament. If you guys have watched it at all, I watched a little bit of it, looking at a lot of highlights, looking at a lot of replays and things like that, because that's just don't have the time. But so a lot of people are looking at the young German striker, Woltemade, 6 goals, 3 assists. That will do that. That'll turn a lot of heads, right? That's a good standout showcase for young players. But you know that I'm not that obvious when it comes to scouting reports. If you guys paid attention yesterday, some of you had no idea who some of those players were. And that's not a slight against you. That's just how nerdy and like obscure I mean, I was scouting players from Molde, Nordjylland. Like, it was a bit insane. Like, I blacked out during that whole period of my life. But there were more than a few standout performers, and I've got 3 that I want to talk to you guys about. So put on your fun to where we're going to do a couple scouting reports here in a second. Yeah, Danny Hutchison looked decent. Yeah, I did a scouting report on him when we were talking about Ipswich players who were getting relegated. I might have included him in my list. But Raja says England got good youth. Yeah, England have a lot of good young players. I was bummed that Hackney didn't play yesterday, but it is what it is. You're going to go with freaking Harvey Elliott, ramen-headed freak. All right, let's dive into some players because I've got 3 of them for you. Starting with, if I can get my button to work here, Luciano Valente, young attacking midfielder, plays for Groningen in the Eredivisie, 21 years old. This kid is excellent on the ball. He's got really good dribbling. That ball sticks to him like glue, really good press resistance as a result. His vision, his chance creating, his passing range is impeccable. If you guys ever watch this kid play, he's so composed. He gets the ball in advanced positions and he just waits and watches his teammates and then just waits for the situation. Some of his passing is like Modric-esque, the way he passes these balls, but he's also, that final third is just where he does a lot, whether he's creating plays or whether he's pressing. He's got excellent high pressing. And he's versatile. He can play in a lot of different positions on the pitch, whether that's an 8 or a 10 or out wide. He can play a lot of different areas. And he's got that low sock drip. You guys know how I feel about the low sock drip. But 2 goals, 8 assists last season. 8 goals, 8 assists in 23-24. He was 6th last year in the Eredivisie for big chances, 4th for successful dribbles per 90, and he finished 13th for assists. He's 3rd in the Eredivisie for possession 1 in the final third. Again, high pressing. And he was 2nd in this under-21 Euros for possession 1 in the final third when he played for the Netherlands. So again, high pressing machine, win that ball high up the pitch. Where have we heard that before? That's what he's doing. But he does play for the Netherlands. His positioning and reading of the game are so good, so advanced for such a young player. He isn't afraid to get stuck in, again, that possession 1 in the final third. And what I like about him is not only does he look to create chances for his teammates, but he's able to create his own chances for his own goals. He doesn't just require service, which I really like. A player who can do that is really ahead of the curve. It's reportedly already caught the eye of other clubs like Feyenoord, Ajax have been linked with him, a lot of the big Eredivisie clubs. I read that he's actually met with Feyenoord and there's a package of 5 million euros kind of being presented, probably likely to get done. Raja says, what are low socks, to be honest? It doesn't really mean anything. It's just a bit of me having fun. A lot of the players like the Grealishes and whatnot, they like to throw the low socks down, but you know how it is. It's just fun. It doesn't really mean much, Raja. There's no expected low sock stat anywhere. But what I like most, though, about Valente is, aside from his skill on the pitch, right, is it seems like he's got a really good head on his shoulders altogether. Let me go through some of his other numbers here while I guys got you here before I dive into that. So these are his percentiles. So you can see shot creating actions, very high, assists, top 5%. But look at this progressive numbers and carries. And you guys know how much I love midfielders who can carry the ball on their own. Literal top percent for take-ons, top 6% for carries, top 2% for progressive passes. Like, he lives in one of those number 10 roles that we would use in our team, and he would be able to be a very good link-up player there. This is his heat map. So he's receiving the ball in those positions where you want to get. He takes his corners on that top right side as well. Like, he's very, very good. And like I said, like I was getting ready to say, what I like about him is feel like he's got a really good head on his shoulder. His agent came out recently, was talking about a lot of the hype. He values his career path over money. He values being a part of a project, getting the minutes. He doesn't just look for the big name club. He doesn't just look for the big wage. He wants to go where he's going to play. And he wants to be appreciated for what he can do in terms of he can contribute in a lot of different areas. He's versatile. He can play anywhere, and he likes clubs that utilize that. He wants to play for a club, too, that has a very close-knit culture, a supportive environment that helps young players thrive, cares about its young players, especially when they're coming from far away, when they're struggling and stuff. He wants to feel supported, and I like that. I think that we've seen a lot of mental health issues, and I think that we did that what if video on George Best. We almost lost George Best because just he was young, and the first couple weeks were very difficult. He was homesick. He was kind of isolated. It's been an issue for a while. Drogba said the same thing about Chelsea. Like, nobody even showed up to greet him or whatever. Like, he was on his own, basically. So, and then, like I said, he wears his low socks, so he's good. That's the rule. But I like this kid a lot. I think he could do a really good job. He's getting ready to make a big point in his career. So I could easily see this kid going like another Tijani Reinders or Kochu route. Next move is to a like Tone Koopmeiners kind of thing. Next big move is to another big Eredivisie club. And then I think in like 2 or 3 years, he's going to be making another big move. Like, that's how highly I rate this kid. But he had a really good showing at the under-21s. Again, very active in that final third. He says Vivel better be onto these profiles. I'm still holding out for a finder's fee if we sign Aiden Yashari, man, or Arden Yashari, because nobody was talking about that guy when I was talking about him. But Raja says he looks Portuguese. He's actually Dutch, so it is what it is. But let me move on. He represents the Red Netherlands. Let me see if he was born there or not. I think he was born there. Yeah, he was born in Groningen, so he's plays for his boyhood club basically. So, but that's Luciano Volante. Let me move on to another midfielder. And this is João Cissé. So this guy plays for Reims, French. Center midfield, 21-year-old. This guy is just an absolute workhorse in midfield. If you guys watch the under-21, you might have seen him there. Consistent. This guy is going to deliver every single time. You know what you're getting out of him, and I like that from a player. He's very composed on the ball, very good dribbling, very good passing range as well. I've seen him compared to Pogba, the way he moves, the way he passes, and again, that work rate. The guy will work for you. When Enzo Milot withdrew from the Euros and Cisse came in and replaced him, he grabbed the opportunity with both hands. He's the 5th rated player of the under-21s altogether. And then he was man of the match once after he scored a brace against Poland from midfield. He's got a stellar work rate, covers a lot of ground in midfield. Here's his percentiles. You can see pitches in with a lot of good tackles, well above average blocks as well. He knows where to be. Interceptions above average too. Look at these take-ons. Top 15% for take-ons, top 13% for progressive passes, and then top 25 per pass completion. So he's breaking the lines. He's making those switches of play, and he's completing them. And he's actually above average for his carries too. So he puts in a physical shift, and then he moves the ball forward. That's what you like to see. Pick a pass. Again, that's where the Pogba comparisons come from. And it helps when you're super comfortable on the ball, like you see his dribbles and stuff. Very comfortable on the ball. I like this kid. And I think what I like most about him is he's young, but the ease with which he adapted to first team football in the French league, that to me belies a maturity, a composure, kind of like what we saw from early days of Kobbie Mainoo, just looked like he belonged there a little bit. I like him a lot. Roma have been linked. This is his heat map, by the way, too. It's kind of like what you'd expect from a player in one of these positions in Amorim's midfield, kind of covering all of it. So Danny says press resistant, older version. Yeah, that's a good comparison. Basically a bigger physical kind of version of Sekou Kone. I like him a lot. Lucky says, Sean, what is link up RB Leipzig model? Yeah, I mean, we got Vivel, we got the hookups. So Danny said there's a few of these type midfielders that's young. Yeah, there are a ton of young midfielders out there, man. He's a big. Danny says compare his stats to Kamara. Talking about Lamine Kamara. Let me see. Hold on a sec. I can do this live because that's how we roll. So I'll do it on the screen. Let me bring it up and then I'll put it on the screen for you guys. Hold on 1 second here, because now I got to go find Lamine Kamara and then we can do it. But I'll do it live just for you, Danny. Just give me a hot second to look up Kamara, and then I'm going to go compare the two. I got to close this pop-up because pop-ups are the devil. Pop. Joao Cisse. All right. Let me share this tab instead. Is that live? All right, cool. So this is him compared to Lamine Camara. Camara is in blue, and so what Kamara is going to get is the actual assist, and that a lot of that could have to do, maybe there's some better players up there at Monaco than there are at Rennes. You got like at least Ben Seguir, you've got Aklios up there at Monaco, you've got guys like that who are finishing the chances. Let me close this other one out real quick too. Kamara's got a little bit better tackle interceptions. Cissé's got better percentage of tackle. But if you look at the carries, the take-ons, the progressive numbers, and the pass completion, Cisse is definitely a bit more of the passing. Kamara is definitely more of getting involved, a little bit more higher up the pitch, the like final ball kind of product, if that makes sense. And then there's just a little bit higher in terms of the tackles and interceptions and everything. So not too much different. Cisse is a little younger, I think, than Kamara, maybe like not that much, but I wouldn't know. It's hard to say, Danny, who's better, who's worse, because it's one stat's not. It really just depends on what you're looking for, really, and that's just what it is. And then you do look at the two clubs. Does Monaco have better players, a better squad than Rennes, for instance? That could have a lot to do with it as well. And Cisse is still young, so he's not as a regular of a starter as Lamine Camara. Danny says, I like his stats, suits what we need. Yeah, I think it does. I think he probably suits us a little better than someone like Collier, for instance. I like Collier, but I think maybe Cissé's got a little bit more strings to his bow. If that makes sense, I'm going to switch it back here. There we go. But yeah, I like this kid a lot. Roma have been linked, like I said. He's drawing a lot of interest, and like I said, he had a really good Euros. He grabbed that opportunity with two hands when Milat withdrew, so I like it. So let me know what you're doing. Longa, I don't know the current price tag of Garnacho personally. We've seen it as high as 70. We've seen it as low as like 50, 55. I think that if Gittins is coming from Dortmund to Chelsea, 55.5, that should be the bare minimum for what we should ask for. Lucky Collier might play U side. Collier is 21, I believe. He's either 21 or 22 now. Like, Collier is not as young as I think a lot of people think he is. And he's really at an age where he should be like, we need to be seeing. I like Collier's positioning in deeper positions. I like his energy, his fight, his work rate. I haven't seen enough of him because he's been injured so much. And that to me is also a worry. So Collier would be one that I might be willing to sacrifice in a deal for like Hayden Hackney or something, or Lennon Miller even. Send him over to Hibs, maybe to Motherwell, to get something done. But we'll see. Moving on. I got one more player for you guys from these under 21 Euros, so keep an eye out for that. Hit that like button if you haven't yet. Subscribe if you are new. We do these scout reports all the time. So say hello to Toma Rigo, another young player at the under 21s. He plays in the Czech league. He is Slovenian or Slovakian. I can't remember now off the top of my head. You have to forgive me. But he plays in the Czech league for Baník Ostrava. Midfielder, 22 years old, very good when it comes to chance creation, very good when it comes to high pressing, very, very good reading of the game, good vision. The guy is a very, very good young midfielder. 7th rated player overall for the under 21 Euros for Slovakia. I knew I remembered it. Man of the match after he got a pair of assists against Romania's under 21s recently. 3 goals, 6 assists in all comps. Led the Czech league for assists and key passes per 90 last season as well. He was the 12th rated player overall for the entire Czech league last season, too. He's a very, very good young player. And the kid puts in a shift. He just wants to be involved. Let's look at him. They don't have percentiles for some leagues, and that includes even like the Austrian league. They don't really do percentiles for like, you can't get him for like RB Salzburg. Definitely can't get him from this. But like I said, 12th rated for player in the league, led the league for assists. But he does put in a shift. If you look at his heat map, the guy is all over the place, man. Look at this kid. He is like, look at the corners. Like, he wants to be on the ball. He wants to take the corners. He wants to cover all the blades of grass. He wants to do a little bit of everything, man. Like, the guy is absolutely just wants to get involved on the pitch, man. Like, let me see what we got going on here. He's very, very good. 5'11", Danny is his height. But he's very good. I've seen him being compared to Schweinsteiger. He's been compared to Cesc Fabregas, the way he plays as well. Just like a Xavi type midfielder, just kind of all over the place, wants to get on the ball, wants to make something happen, can make something happen. And his performances in the under 21 Euros have turned heads. Levante are already supposedly interested. Trabzonspor as well, reportedly interested. He's definitely going to be making a bit of a move this summer, I think, because the Czech league he may have been very good, but I think he's ready for that step up. Danny says, look at that heat map. It is an insane heat map, dude. Look, the whole, like, literally aside from the box, like, it's all freaking red, dude. He is just all over the place. And he might be the best player in the squad for them, which is why he's kind of have to do everything. But he's an absolute monster, man. But he had a really good Euros, like I said. Excellent. In the Euros, the under 21 Euros, and even just like the recent youth tournament that I think one of our players, Cheeto got like the player of the tournament for. That's a good platform, a good showcase for these young players, a good springboard. So it's a good little showcase, but Danny says it's a Bruno heat map. Yeah, he does play a lot like that. He's just one of those like old school, like I said, Schweinsteiger, Fabregas, Xavi midfielders, just all over the place, man. Just all over the place. Longa says the current rate of Onana staying at Man United. I couldn't tell you, man. Supposedly the Monaco stuff was rubbish, according to Romano. You guys know I would still sell him. I think that we are waiting to see if we get an offer. We'll see. I think we have goalkeeper lists ready to go in case we do get an offer. I think we'll be ready to pull the trigger. I would love Andre Lunin or Sen Lamens. I think would be excellent pickups. I did that video last week. You guys can go and watch that. There is a link in the video description. Andrew Highland says, bro. United versus everybody says, bro, what's up? How you doing? Get Onana out. Now, see, I knew I liked you. I just met you, but I knew I liked you already. Big up, man. Welcome to the channel. Casper, better late than never. What have I missed? You're going to have to rewatch the video, man. I can't go back and do it all again. Andrew says, am I part of the club? What club? What club? Are you talking about United? No. I'm definitely not part of United. I wish, man. I would turn that club around. And if I was director of football at United, man, we'd be freaking on top of the world within a couple years. You guys have seen my rebuild videos. You've seen my scouting reports. I'd have some good players at this club, man. But big up, man. Good to see you. And those are three players that stood out for me. The under 21 Euros. A couple of really good midfielders and a really good number 10. Really good numbers, turning heads already. You saw the percentiles. You saw the heat maps. I mean, Tomás Rico is like, that dude is insane. He's just all over the place. So, but those are good players. Let me guys know if there's anybody else that stood out for you at the under 21 Euros. Somebody maybe we don't already know about. We know like Woltemade, everybody's looking at Woltemade, the German striker. He's been linked to a lot of clubs. He had a really good Euros as well. There's a lot of good players in the Euros, but big up. Does anybody keepers jump out at anybody? Anybody see any good keepers at the Euros? Let me know. Let's have a quick chat about Twitter and the YouTube, because I've got some issues when it comes to stuff. So you guys know that I have never and would never profess to be any sort of ITK, any sort of expert on anything when it comes to football news or anything. I don't think I'm an expert just because I show you stuff and talk about it. Doesn't just because I have a channel and I sit in front of a ring light and a camera doesn't mean I think I'm an expert. I'm just a guy who loves football, who loves Manchester United, like with everything. And I love talking about it. So, but when it comes to Twitter, when it comes to the media, when it comes to YouTube, even, I've always told you guys, what's the one thing I've always told you with that is you can't just look at the headlines. You can't just look at the tweets. You can't just look at thumbnails. Read articles, not just headlines. Check the sources. This is why I've given a list of sources that I just don't count anymore. Fricayes, Team Talk, Caught Offside. They're not good sources. They literally just say according to sources or Caught Offside understands. It's not a source. But this is also the reason I don't bother with rumors coming from certain United accounts on Twitter or YouTube. Like I'm talking about Andre Onana stuff because like there are a lot of big accounts today on Twitter posting links and rumors and they said, okay, a lot of the accounts, even the big United accounts on Twitter, for instance, were saying Andre Onana is supposedly free to leave United. And that's coming from Sky Sports. Sky Sports are reporting. Sky Sports said this. It's just not true. Sky Sports did not say this at all. I'll show you what Sky Sports said. Sky Sports literally has a little bit of a couple minute segment, literally 40-second segment where you can see the presenter is standing here next to a giant screen and just literally flipping through a bunch of headlines from different publications. So Sky Sports didn't say that. This literally says on this tweet from Sky Sports, a roundup of all the stories making this morning's newscastle or newspapers. And you see the one that everyone is picking up on about Onana is from the Sun, literally from the Sun, not from Sky Sports. But everyone on Twitter is claiming Sky Sports reported. They didn't. It says from the Sun, Onana free to leave Man United on loan. This is I've told you, this is how football rumors like get traction. This is how they become crazy thumbnails and people spend an hour talking about them, because this is the kind of stuff that happens. Somewhere it's either something like this or Alex Crook on TalkSport will say something like, "Oh, I you have to think Bruno is not happy with Ineos," and then it turns into Bruno not happy with Ineos, Bruno furious at Ineos, and that's coming from TalkSport. Like, it's just not a news story, and this is how things happen. And like, I complain about it. I try to get people to stop buying into it, but it's going to happen. But anything that comes from the Sun is a 4-letter word in the UK, you guys. Just remember that. Yes, like Danny says, the Sun, man. It is what it is. But I have to point that out because I woke up and saw all these people talking about it, and then I went and actually checked about it and the problem too is the big channels and the big accounts that are reporting it, because they're tagging Sky Sports News instead of the Sun, because no one's going to read it. No one's going to care if you tag the Sun, but they'll read it when you say Sky Sports. I don't know why. Sky Sports is still full of shit too, but I don't know. I had to vent a little bit, man, because it's freaking ridiculous. Lucky says TalkSport, TalkSport, and Mbeumo 65. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know if has any news jumped, because the other day we had that news that literally while we were live that our second bid had been rejected for Mbeumo. I'm not seeing anything other. Yeah, I don't see anything other out here right now. Nothing we haven't already talked about. So, a couple little odds and ends here. You guys, make sure you're liking the video. Make sure you're subscribing if you're new. Make sure you're checking the links in the video description as well. And then below the video player, you'll see some links to some products in the UVE store. It is 20% off for the next couple of days in the United vs. Everybody store. Everything in the store is 20% off. You can go get some sweet t-shirts, some hoodies, some hats, some coffee mugs. There's women's clothes. There's baby clothes in there. Go check them out. It is 20% off. But and then there's links to some charities that my wife is a part of for dog shelters here in Michigan. That's all in there. GoGoalShop code $5 off if you register with that code to get a jersey or anything at GoGoalShop. You guys know I big up GoGoalShop a lot. Fanatics, Fubo, Kit Bag, all of it's in the description. Always make sure you're checking the video description. There's a ton of stuff in there. A couple little odds and ends here, you guys. Apparently, let me take this off the screen real quick so you guys can see the moneymaker here. Apparently, we're supposed to be upset as football fans that Inter Miami were eliminated from the Club World Cup by PSG. Apparently, we're supposed to be like devastated as football fans because it's Lionel Messi. Do me a fucking favor, seriously. It's not even about Messi. It's just the Club World Cup. Like, if I don't rate the Club World Cup as any sort of metric, then it doesn't mean anything if Inter Miami get knocked out. I don't care. What did we think was going to happen when an MLS side that's been in existence for 3 years went up against Champions League winners PSG? That was only going to go one way. Let's be honest. Like, come on. Because it's Messi, though, it's some sort of big deal, and we're all supposed to be fucking heartbroken about it. Like, fuck off. Seriously. It's the Club World Cup. Seriously, it's the Club World Cup. I don't know. Some of you have been watching. I wanted maybe to look at a couple players like at Palmeiras or Flamengo. I just can't be bothered with it. But what are you gonna do? But I just saw some people talking about that, and I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, let's get over it. Like, seriously. Yeah, Lucky, we do have a third bid incoming. It's been talked about a lot today. It's probably going to get done in the next couple of days, I imagine, but we'll see. And how do Lyon and Frankfurt get this sweet collar treatment from Adidas this year with their shirts, but we get the generic shit? Why do we get the generic collar and they get the cool? Lyon got relegated and they get the cool collars. That's bullshit, man. Bayern got one. Real Madrid got one. We get the crap ones, dude. I wanted one of those sweet collars for the home shirt this year, and we got garbage, dude. I'm venting, but right now. But any case, Casper's a little disappointed. We've only signed one player. Yeah, I'm a little disappointed, but I'm not panicking or anything. I'm not fuming about it. Like, it is what it is. We knew it was going to be a kind of a hesitant, like, cautious approach. We're limited with money. We're trying to get deals going on. I think that we could stand to be a little bit more kind of proactive in this thing. Like, it shouldn't take this long to do one deal for a player. So maybe Ineos are learning, it's not Nice anymore. This isn't Lausanne Sport. Like, it's like you have to do it. This is United. It's a little different, but that's going to do it for me, from you guys. Like I said, make sure you're liking the video. Make sure you subscribe. Please go check out the memberships. We did those scouting reports. There is a way to get involved and suggest players with the scouting reports. You guys go check that out. The memberships lays that all out for you. There's a chance there won't be a kickabout show this week. I know Dylan's got some family stuff going on, so he might not be able to join me this week. I'll let you guys know if anything changes there. But yes, again, it is 20% off in the UVE stores, so go check that out. There's a link in the pinned comment in the live chat, and then there's a link in the video description. There's a link to a charity in the description too. Again, there's never any pressure. You don't have to contribute. You don't have to do anything. I get it, but if you want to, there's a link there. And if you can't, please consider sharing that as well. Every little bit helps with that. Anything you guys buy in the store, any super chats, any memberships, all that's going to that charity until they finish their fundraiser in August as well. So it's all helping. Again, no pressure. There's no solicitation here. It's there, and that's what we do. So, and then be back. We'll do the news. Obviously, we'll be back if I need to any breaking news pops up. But enjoy the rest of your Sundays, guys. I'm sorry if it's hot where you're at. It's pretty hot here as well. That's why I don't wear jerseys on the stream just because I'm a United fan. It's hot up here. These are breathable. This is the authentic version, so it's definitely breathable. But I appreciate everybody stopping by tonight, getting involved. If you weren't able to catch the live, leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts. Where does anybody in the 21 Euros stand out to you? What do you think about Mbeumo, Gyokeres, Sancho, Ederson? Get involved in all of it. Share your opinions. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, you guys. I will see you guys on the next one. Thanks for stopping by. Take it easy.